A very good evening to you all. It is 4:45 here in the UK, and welcome to a very special programme here on the commentary of the Women's Euro 2020 Group Stage Draw. Welcome to the Group Stage Draw. I'm Russ Vennon, and joining me to go through the draw and to give his opinions on the draw is our England Lionesses expert and commentator, Nicholas Jones. Nicholas, how are you doing, my friend? You doing okay?
Very good evening to you, Russ. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, and I'm looking forward to seeing who goes in which draw, and also to find out what kind of opposition England will have to face in their group.
Yes, obviously, Nicholas, you've been covering the World Cup qualifiers for England on the channel so far. Did a brilliant job covering the game against Latvia the other night, and did a brilliant job doing the Northern Ireland match at the weekend as well, Nicholas. So, Nicholas, a question to you then. From what you've seen of the Lionesses so far, before we get into the other teams in pot one, pot two, three, and four, and tell you the groups, how many groups they're going to be as well, Nicholas. What have you made to the Lionesses so far in the matches you've covered them, and how far do you think? Obviously, we don't know who else is going to be in England's group as of yet, but who do you think? How far do you think England can go in the competition?
They went as far as the semi-finals in 2017, and they have been runners-up twice. So, with a bit of luck, they could actually go all the way into the final. I mean, Serena Wiegmann's done really well in her first few games as manager thus far. So I think that she'll bring a lot of things to the table, and she is experienced herself, having won with the Netherlands in 2017. So under her, I think England could well go all the way.
Yes, obviously, Nicholas, you just said you think England can go all the way, but there'll be a few teams standing in the way. But three of the teams will not be standing in the way in the group stages. Let me tell you, this is the group stage draw. So let's have a look at the rest of the group pots. Then in pot number one, we've got the Netherlands, Germany, and France. All going to groups B, C, and D. In pot number two, we have got Sweden, Spain, Norway, Italy. Pot number three is Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, and Austria. Pot number four is Iceland, Russia, Finland, and debutants Northern Ireland. And then, Nicholas, so you look at the other teams in there. Who do you think out of those teams would you say are your favourites going into? I know we're only doing the group stage draw today, but going into the Women's Euros next summer, who do you think is going to be the favourites for the draw moving forward?
Favourites overall in this instance, I probably have to go for Germany. They've won it 8 times, so I wouldn't be surprised if if things go the way they do. They could be a shoe in for the ninth. But also, I wouldn't put it past the Netherlands to going for a repeat performance after what they did in 2017. Even though Denmark made it through to the same final they did. I'd probably say Denmark, and I'd probably say Denmark is a bit of an outside bet as well. So I think the other three countries I'm probably going to be looking out for are the Netherlands, Germany, and France. Although I wouldn't put it past Spain or Italy or wherever. And France, I do believe they were runners-up in the no, as well as winning the Euros 2017. I think the Netherlands were the runners-up in the Women's World Cup, if memory serves me correctly, back in 2019, where they lost to the United States. I think I'll possibly put the Netherlands as one of my top outs, as one of my top picks as well.
Yes, so the draw is around about 10 minutes to go then, Nicholas. Look, and we're looking forward to bringing the listeners this one this evening. I know a few people will be tuned in who is your family members, or which is your mum, dad, auntie, and uncle. So, a very good evening to all of you this evening, and thank you for choosing us to find out who England get in their Euro 2022 group stage draw later this evening. So it's going to be a very good one, this one, Nicholas. I think it'll be a very good one moving forward and for England as well. So be very interesting to see who England do get in the draw very, very soon. We'll be bringing that around about 5 o'clock. You can see the groups going across the bottom of the screen at the moment. England were in Pool 1, but they have been placed into Group A as it's going to be held in England. As I mentioned, Northern Ireland in their debuts in the competition this Euros this upcoming summer. So Nicholas, with looking at Northern Ireland, it's their debut season or debut time in the Women's European Championships. Kenny Shields, as we can see on the screen, what sort of a mindset do you think he will be having going into a tournament like this, knowing it's the debut in the tournament? He's going to probably have a lot of nerves in it, Nicholas.
I should certainly think that Northern Ireland will be full of nerves going into the tournament as well, because, like you say, it's their first major European tournament, and it will be definitely in at the deep end for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get past the group stage.
Yes, it'll be very interesting to see how Northern Ireland get on in the European Championships Euro 2022. Be very interesting to see that unfold going forward, and be interesting to see how well they do in the competition as well.
Certainly would be, and they also beat Wales in their qualifying group, even though they managed to qualify for the tournament via the playoffs. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yes, it's very interesting that Nicholas just say that they're going through the playoffs, and you can see quite a few people getting ready for the draw. The draw is taking place in Manchester this evening, in Greater Manchester. So a lot of people from that area looks like they've gone along to see who the Lionesses do get in the tournament. Just before the draw is made very shortly, let me just run through who is playing, or should I say where the stadiums are going to be, because 10 stadiums in 9 cities who are going to host games of the Women's Euros from the 6th to the 31st of July next year. So I'll just run you through those. So I won't tell you which matches they've got. So it's Brighton Hove Albion, the Brighton Hove Community Stadium, home of Brighton Hove Albion. There's a capacity of 30,000 there. The Falmer Stadium, they're going to be hosting some matches. In London, it's going to be the Brentford Community Stadium and, of course, Wembley Stadium. In Manchester, there's going to be the Manchester City Academy Stadium and Old Trafford. It's going to be in Milton Keynes. It's going to be Stadium MK. It's going to be hosting a few. Rotherham United, the ASCL New York Stadium, will be hosting a few of the matches as well. They've even got one of the quarterfinals of the ASCL New York Stadium, the home of Rotherham United. Bramall Lane of Sheffield United. They'll be hosting three group matches in the semi-final. It's going to be Southampton and St Mary's. They're going to be hosting a few matches there. As I mentioned, Old Trafford is going to be hosting one of the matches, 74,000 capacity stadium. And that's going to be for the opening group game of Group A and the opening match of the competition as well. Leigh Sports Village, the home of Manchester United women in the youth team, and Leigh Centurions Rugby League side are going to be hosting some matches as well. And Nicholas, it is good to see that a women's ground hosting three, hosting four matches in the competition, isn't it, Nicholas? Obviously, we've been the women's expert and covering some of the women's Super League matches and probably covered a couple of Man United women's matches. It's good to see their home ground hosting some matches in the tournament, isn't it, Nicholas?
It certainly is, and it certainly is great to have both Manchester United's men's and women's first teams' respective grounds throughout the same tournaments, and like you say, Old Trafford will be used for the opening match. So it'll be really good to sort of raise awareness of both parties. Throughout Europe. And also, I was about to mention that the tournament will also be good for England as a whole, as the FA continues to raise awareness of the ability of women to play football. They've been managing to campaign that very successfully in recent years, but I think there's still quite a bit of a way to go, though.
Yes, very good point mentioning that, Nicholas. I almost forgot about that there, Nicholas. Good job you're on here with us today. Otherwise, I would have forgot about that. But we'll be getting ready for the draw in around about 4 or 5 minutes' time. So make sure you stay with us for the draw. The draw will start at 5 o'clock today, and you can see on the screen the former England Lionesses defender and Alex Scott getting ready for the draw, and they've got some of the this weekend some of the women's players who could be featuring in the Euros will be in action for their respective clubs in the Women's FA Cup semi-finals this weekend, and hopefully we'll bring you at least one or two of those, either one or both of those matches, either live or delayed on the channel this coming weekend. And it's good that we've started to begun featuring the women's game on the channel, Nicholas. Obviously, when I first started it out with Mike and then got you on board, we were mainly covering the men's game as well. So it's very good that we're actually involving the women's side of the game in the competition as well now, isn't it, Nicholas?
It's really good that we're involved. It's really good that we're involved in the women's side as well. I quite agree, because it helps, because we're also contributing to raising awareness that women and girls can play the game, not just in Britain, but in Europe as well. Who knows? Maybe at some stage in future we might cover one or two games in the Women's Champions League. But I feel that we're definitely doing our part to raise awareness for women's football.
Yes, that is indeed the case. We'll get ready for the draw very, very shortly. Just going through the draw now. Pot 1 teams, let me remind you of those teams. England, who have already been drawn into Group A, the Netherlands, Germany and France. Pot 2 is Sweden, Spain, Norway and Italy. Pot 3 is Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland and Austria. And pot 4 is Iceland, Russia, Finland and the debutants Northern Ireland. So that's just a recap of the teams that are in today's group stage draw. If you're watching us live, get in the comments, get in the live chat, should I say, your prediction of who England is going to face. If we can get Sweden, Spain, Norway, Italy, Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, Austria, Iceland, Russia, Finland, and I think we could also get Northern Ireland as well. Nicholas, if I were to put you on the spot while we wait for the draw to be made, who do you think England will come up against from pot 2, 3, and 4?
I'm going to say I think it could be Sweden, Austria, and Iceland. I think
So Nicholas has
that's
gone with
just.
so Nicholas has gone with Sweden, Austria, and Iceland. Let us know who you think the Lionesses will face in next summer's Euro 2020 group stage. For me, Nicholas, I think it'll be Norway, Switzerland, and Finland. So we'll have to wait and see who is right out of myself and Nicholas. Will be bringing you the group stage draw very, very shortly. That's coming up in the next couple of minutes. Just going through the final formalities of the draw. But before the draw is taking place, there is going to be a musical break with Ellie Goulding, which we'll not bring to you. We'll just keep chatting. The draw is coming up very, very soon. But Nicholas, while we wait for the draw to be going, Ella Anderson is Ellie Goulding there currently performing, and she I've listened to some of her music in the past, and she's a very good singer. And I'm not sure if you've heard much of her music, Nicholas, and if so, what have you made to her music so far, Nicholas?
I haven't heard her music in years, if I'm honest, Russ. So I can't really say much there.
But do you always think she was going to be a very good singer from when you heard her a few years ago, Nicholas? Did you always think she could potentially appear on a programme like this?
Um, Well, when I first heard her, she was very little well known, uh, but uh, I didn't think that she would go on to something like this. Um, so so it's amazing to find that someone who I first heard as far back as 2010, I think it was. Um, it's absolutely amazing.
Yes, it is, Nicholas. Very interesting there, Nicholas. She's been active since 2012 when she was on the X Factor in the UK, Ella Anderson. And actually, to give her a full name, is Gabriella Michelle Anderson, but she's commonly known as Ella Anderson. She was born 12th of January 1996, so she's 25 years old. She's been active since 2012 singing, but she's probably been singing a lot longer than that, but she was active within the charts and record deal since then. So it's very interesting to see that, and be interested to see what music she's got coming up over the next couple of years or the next few months or so. And so it'll be interesting to see that. Obviously, she's got a new song out at the moment called Risk It All, which is with the House Gospel Choir and Just Kidding as well, which I have actually heard of that, Nicholas, and I must say, I'm not sure if you've heard it, Nicholas, but I must say that Risk It All is a very good song. I'm not sure if you've heard brand new one, Risk It All. Yeah, Nicholas.
Can't say I have. I don't. Can't say I have. I don't listen to new music much these days in comparison to to what I used to. Um, just anyway, the performance is just about finished, and it looks as if the draw will take place in around a couple of minutes' time.
Yes, the draw will be coming up very, very shortly as we get ready for the Women's Euro 2020 draw. Brilliant. There was a great song and a great performance there from Ella Anderson, and we'll get ready for the draw very, very soon. Just to recap, and just while we're waiting for the draw to take place, we'll just get your thoughts, Nicholas, because we didn't really get them after the last Latvia versus England game, Nicholas. So, looking at that game, obviously England won 10-0, and it was a pretty convincing win. I've not really spoke to you since you've done that commentary on it, on the commentary hub, in fact. And with since that draw, since that game the other day, Nicholas, who was the standout performers from England?
Well, I did. Well, I did say in commentary that I gave my player of the match in that game against Latvia to Rachel Daly because of her last minutes tap in, which she did with about 10 minutes to go. I think she took advantage of a Beth Mead cross and just tapped it in whenever she. And just tapped it in at the last moment, like I said. But also another stand-up player for me was Ella Toone. She scored a hat trick on that game, but I'm still waiting for that first international goal from Lauren Hemp. She's come close a few times, but hasn't quite been able to take advantage. But I keep saying that it will come from her sooner rather than later. Maybe she'll score in the next game against Austria.
Yes, and obviously just mentioned there Ella Toone with an hat trick, Nicholas. Talk to me about her performance. Why why do you think it was easy for her to get an hat trick? Was her movement really, really good, Nicholas, or why do you think she got those three goals? Were her movement very good, or was the Latvian defence really, really poor and she just punished them for poor mistakes that the Latvian defence made?
Probably say a bit of both. She was very active on the pitch and also was able to take advantage of crosses from her teammates. But also, I would say that the Latvian defence wasn't much to write home about. It did kind of lack a little bit. In fact, a lot. I have to say it was kind of on par with North Macedonia. Because I think England won bar out that no, or was it Luxembourg? Anyway, they were definitely, but they were definitely less defensive than Northern Ireland on Saturday.
Yes, and obviously you saw the game against Northern Ireland as well. Going back to that one, Nicholas, obviously I know you gave a few mentions for man of the match. Player of the match in that one, Nicholas. Who would you, for you, who was your overall? How did you think that performance when compared to the one Tuesday night? Was there any similarities from Tuesday night's performance to Saturday's, or were there is just different level in comparison? England being much better than Latvia on Tuesday and on Saturday, Northern Ireland were fairly equal with England, in your opinion.
Oh, I would have to say that England were definitely better than Latvia on Tuesday, but Northern Ireland were on a sort of a more of a level playing field. Um, uh, so I think that the group is proving to be almost too easy for England, without a shadow of a doubt. Even though Northern Ireland ran them very close in the first half. on Saturday. So I personally think they'll qualify for the 2023 World Cup without a single problem. As for Northern Ireland, they'll be lucky to make it to the playoffs, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, and obviously you just touched there on Northern Ireland. After seeing them against England in that World Cup qualifying, Nicholas, ahead of this tournament, for you, what do they need to change in order to have a good tournament, Nicholas?
They may need to change. They may need to change one or two things to have a good tournament. Also, bring in like sort of players who have like sort of WSL experience when they're sort of match fit or when they're sort of match fits and everything. And it's going to be in. But like I said earlier, it's going to be interesting to see how Northern Ireland fare in their first tournament at international level.
Yes, indeed, Nicholas should be very good there. The Serena Wiegman there on the screen again, the Lionesses boss. She won the competition with the Netherlands in 2017, so she's got that winning mentality in the Euros. Do you think, Nicholas, from what you've seen, she could transfer that winning mentality to the Lionesses squad?
I personally don't see why not. Like you say, she's got the winning mentality, which she had when she was in the Netherlands, and very experienced. I think under her leadership, England could well be in with a chance.
Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. So very interesting to see Serena Wiegman there fetching out the trophy, which hopefully she'll be holding up again next summer with the England squad this time rather than watching the Dutch side lift it up. It seems to be a good performance from the Lionesses in the matches so far from what I've listened to from your commentaries that you've done for us, Nicholas. Obviously not seen the last couple of matches due to other commitments myself, but your commentaries have made it sound like I was actually at both games, watching both games, so you did a very good job there, and it sounds like Serena Wiegman is already getting her ideas across. Just seeing some of the stadiums where the matches are being played this, well, next summer, should I say. And with the ASL New York Stadium, and that's Rotherham United's ground, the team which is very local to me, was opened in 2012 and it's got a capacity of 12,000 there. The very first England women's match, Nicholas, I was held at the ASL New York Stadium. Do you know when that was, Nicholas?
No idea. No idea at all.
2016. Well, that's when they held their first England women's game, and they also staged the 2018 men's under 17 Euro final as well. So got a good pedigree and a good reputation with the Football Association. So when it was announced that England had won the bid for the competition, I thought his Rotherham will definitely be used as a stadium for this. Sheffield United, ground Bramall Lane. Did you know, Nicholas, that Bramall Lane was originally a cricket ground and it opened in 1855 and football was first played there in 1862 between the world's two oldest clubs in Sheffield. Sheffield FC, two the world's oldest clubs, Sheffield FC and Allen FC. Did you know that, Nicholas?
I don't think I did. No. Um, and it looks like we're just about getting ready to start proceedings for the women's Euro 2022 group stage draw. So, so Russ,
Yes,
over to you.
yes, thank you, Nicholas. Very, we'll be starting in a couple of moments, just some more TV interviews. So while that is just going on, and just looking at some of the, if you just look at some of the stadiums, Nicholas, which I told to you last night, which is any stadiums on there which you look at and are very surprised that they've been used, Nicholas, in your opinion?
I'm very surprised that they've actually chosen the AC or New York Stadium, and I'm also very surprised they also picked Stadium MK as well. So very random choice for a stadium currently hosting a League One club. But I'm sure they'll have had their reasons, and also the Falmer Stadium as well. I don't get it.
Yes, and I think with the ACL New York Stadium, Nicholas, the home of Rotherham United, I think one of the reasons why they've chose that one, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, they've held an England women's match there. They've held the 2018 men's under 17 Euros final. So they've hosted big comp- versus a big competition in the Euros final there, which, yes, it's the men's under 17s, not a senior one, but they have hosted a under 17 Euro final there, so they've actually hosted a Euro final there, Nicholas. So I can't see that one. Maybe Stadium MK. Yes, I was surprised at that, but England and women, and men's under 21s have played there several times, and they also had three matches of the Rugby Union World Cup in 2015 as well. Same MK, but the one which I'm really surprised at, which they're using, is the Manchester City Academy Stadium. I thought they might have used the Etihad Stadium rather than the Academy Stadium. Are you surprised that they're using the Academy Stadium rather than the main stadium for Manchester City, Nicholas?
I don't think so, actually, because Manchester City's women's club plays there. But it would have actually been nice to have included the Etihad. Now that you mention it, yeah.
Obviously, Nicholas, you're looking at the some of the others. Obviously, you mentioned Brighton as well. It's surprised that they're using the Brentford Community Stadium, which was opened
Um,
last year, rather than say somewhere like Tottenham's ground, which has recently been built, or the Emirates, or even the London Stadium where West Ham United play, Nicholas. Are you surprised, or even Stamford Bridge, are you surprised they're using Brentford's ground rather than any of those grounds which I've just mentioned?
yes, absolutely. Because now you mention it, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium would have been perfect for something like this. But like I say, I'm sure everyone's had their reasons.
Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. I think they will have had all their reasonings, as you can see going across the bottom on our scrolling ticker, is all the pots for the group for the matches. I know England are already drawn into Group A, which is already been decided because England are hosting the draws. As we mentioned, Nicholas, as we touched on, we have got the Netherlands in also in Pod 1 because of they're the oldest. Germany in there as well, and France in there as well. Karen Carr, I can see that Karen Carr is going to be one of the people doing the draw today as well for our feed that we're watching the draw on. So it'll be interesting to see that. And obviously, me, myself, and Nicholas have given our predictions for the England's gonna get in their group. Who do you think England's gonna get in their group? Me and Nicholas would like to know, please. Let us know who you think England's going to get in their group, and we'll keep you informed and let you know if you are correct, as who you think they're going to be, as and when the draw is made. So we're just getting ready for the draw. One matter who plays for Manchester United, how to help do the draw as well. Just touching on Manchester United briefly a minute, Nicholas. Just to show Manchester United a moment as well, Nicholas. Who do you think? Do you think he should? Some of the players should take the blame as well as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because a lot of pressure's piled on the manager of Manchester United at the moment for the poor run of form that the Red Devils are on in the Premier League. Do you think the players should take some of the responsibility as well, Nicholas?
Perhaps. But also another of the guests on there is England's international women's record goal scorer holder, Kelly Smith, with 46 goals. Ellen White is now just 2 behind.
Yes, Anja Mittagag of Germany and Ruben Diaz of Portugal there as well to have wins and mensch along with the draw as well. So there's quite a few people there to help with the draw. Yes, some of the men's don't play for the some of the men's there. Like Ruben Diaz plays for Portugal. The Portuguese women are not to the Euros, but Spain are, and Wamata is from Spain and plays for the Spain men's national side. So we just see who get how the draw pans out there. Kelly Smith and Nicholas mentioned is there to do the draw today. So very interesting to see that the draw is just getting it's almost ready to be done right now. So we'll stand. So again, so we're back in just a couple of seconds once the first group, once the first ball is drawn, and we'll let you know which group they're going to be in. So we're back in just a couple of seconds. Welcome back to the Connor Chubbs coverage of the Women's Euro 2020 group stage draw. We're getting ready for the draw now. Just a few chats around about some of the players and some of the big talking points in the men's and some of the women's game, including some of the how England performed in the past couple of matches, which Nicholas covered for us on the commentary hub on over the past couple of days for everyone. The draw for the Women's Euro 2020 group stage draw will be starting very, very soon. So we'll get ready to bring you that shortly. Just getting ready for that now. We've got a comment in from the boy Charlie who says we'll probably get the hardest group, which so the boy Charlie, if you're still there, just put it there. You can see the other teams. Miss Pot, we probably now will write down the teams from pot 2, 3, and 4 who you think is going to be in England's group, and we'll keep you. Well, I know if you are correct. The draw will be done very, very soon. So some of the draw is there, so we'll be interested to see who is going to be in the group. So who do you reckon England's going to get? Who do you reckon is going to get the easiest group? Let us know who you think's going to be in England's group and who's going to get the easiest group very, very soon. And if you're to apply to go for the matches, you can ballot. There's a ballot opening later where you can register to try and get tickets for the competition. So I'll be very interested to see how this unfolds. We're getting ready for the draw in a second. So we're just waiting for we'll just get ready for that in just a second or so. So we'll just tell you who. So the qualified teams, and I'll just go through last appearance. Everyone apart from Finland and Northern Ireland appeared in it in 2017. Finland was 2013, and Northern Ireland are the first time in the competition. Now, we're just going to get through how the draw is going to be made. So we'll just tell you about how the draw will be made. There's going to be 16 teams who are going to be participating in the competition. There's England. There's 16, and then the rest of the groups teams which you can see across the bottom. A to D. England have been signed A1 in Group A. Others are in the post which you can see the post on the screen going across the ticker. Whoever comes out first will be in pot B, C, D, and place number 1. They'll be sent in alphabetical order in A to D. And then we'll tell you which position they are going to be in the group. So just going through all the how it's going to be drawn. So we'll go through that and tell you about those. And the match schedule will be announced later this evening. So we'll post the match schedule on our Twitter feed at Commentary Live 1 and also on our Facebook feed as well. Facebook.com/The Commentary Hub. And now it's time for the draw. So we'll get ready for the draw right now. And Nicholas will bring you in at the end of pod 1's being drawn. And then we'll get you in after pod 4's being in, Nicholas, for, and then we'll get your thoughts on all the groups afterwards. So is that okay with you, Nicholas?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing who goes where.
Let's go then, Nicholas. We'll get ready. We'll bring Nicholas back in just a few moments. So we're now going to go into pot number 1. As you can see there, so we'll get ready for that. Germany have gone into pot. Have gone into Group B. So Germany are out. Next up will be the Netherlands or France to see who's in Group C. Next up in Group C, we have got is the holders the Netherlands. So what that means France, if they've done it right, will be in Group B. So we'll confirm that in a second. So we'll confirm that group in a sec. The groups in a second, and I'll put them on the screen for you. Just check and see if it is France, and that is correct. So that means that's been sorted, and that means they've done it correctly. So there's each group so far. So I'll tell you who is in the next group. So we're now going to go on to pot number 2, which is Sweden, Spain, Norway, and Italy, who will go in England's group. Nicholas says Italy. I say Sweden. Who will get England in this group? Here is one matter. Is Norway. They're going joining England in Group A. Connor says England. Norway in A3. And that's second group for England on the 11th of July. Next up is Spain. And they're in with Germany. I'd be interested to see if Spain will face Germany in the first group match. Ruben Diaz will tell us what position Spain are going to be in. B3. Second, Germany plays Spain in their second match. So Italy or Sweden are left. And it's Sweden. So these are the pots. So there's the group so far. As you can see going across there. That's going to be the first game in Group C for Netherlands against Sweden. And it's France against Italy. So that's the group so far. We'll give you rest. We'll fetch Nicholas on in a second or so, or we'll wait till the end and they can talk through each group and who he thinks is going to progress through each of the groups. And that's going to be the first match of the tournament, France against Italy. I wonder if it'll be a very good one. And now we're going to move on to poll number 3, which is Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, and Austria. So who will get England? England would be able to avoid Denmark or Belgium. And England have got Austria. Who will be? Will they be England's first? England's opening game, England v Austria at Old Trafford, the very first game of the tournament. On the 6th of July at Old Trafford, the home of Manchester United. Next team out to go into Germany against Spain. It is Denmark. Denmark are in Germany with Germany and Spain, but will they play Spain first or will they play Germany first? They'll play Germany first. Will Denmark? Who's going to be up next against Netherlands and Sweden? Will it be Switzerland or Belgium? And it's Switzerland. So then it's Belgium in Group D. So then we'll get ready for pot number 4 in a second. So you can see the groups going across the bottom of your screen. Roberto Martinez is in the attendance today, who hosts Belgium's men's side. And he's D number 3 for Belgium. So now, those are the groups going across the bottom. We're now going to do pot number 4. Northern Ireland are in this pot. Who will they get? Northern Ireland are in with Austria, in England, Austria, Norway, and that's the closing game in Group A. England, Northern Ireland. England beat Northern Ireland 4-0 at Wembley the other weekend. So Nicholas has already covered that game. First, we'll get his thoughts on that. Being covered again to do. Next up is is Finland. And then in B number 4. So two teams left. Iceland and Russia left. Who will is Russia next? Netherlands, Sweden, Russia, and Switzerland. You would expect Netherlands and Sweden, I would say, would have to go through from this. And then Iceland are in Group D with France, Italy, and Belgium. So again, Nicholas's thoughts on the draw in a couple of minutes. Just going to let you know which group they're going to be in a second. So we've got the draw is now concluded. Back to the draw, so brilliant draw there. So we'll get Nicholas's thoughts in a moment. So we'll just go through the draw in a second. So we'll bring you those draw in a second. For England's and we'll get sorted. We'll get Nicholas's thoughts on that in just a second. So just go through the groups for you. So Group A is England, Austria, Norway, Northern Ireland. Group B, Germany, Denmark, Spain, Finland. Group C is Netherlands, Sweden, Russia, and Switzerland. And Group D, France, Italy, Belgium, and Iceland. So now, a very warm welcome once again to England's women's football expert and women's football expert Nicholas Jones. And Nicholas, you can see the draws on the screen in front of you right there, and you can see them going across the bottom of the group of the stream here on the ticker in front of us here right now. Nicholas, just speak to us a moment. What is your thoughts, first of all, on England's group, and who do you think will be the top two from that? And honestly, Serena Wiegman, this England have already played Northern Ireland and won of the weekend. Do you think she'll be now looking at seeing that there and think we've beaten them once, can beat them again, or do you think she'll approach that game with a different mindset?
I think she'll. I think, despite the fact that England have beaten Northern Ireland, like you said, they might come in with a bit more caution as well, because before the game on the Saturday, Wiegman did show a bit more caution because Northern Ireland are doing pretty well in the same group as well. But for Northern Ireland, the debutants, it's just their bad luck to be in the same group as the hosts. So in terms of who I think will go through beyond that, so I'm probably going to go for England and Norway.
Yes, and then if you look into Group B, Nicholas, there's a really big game in there with Germany against Spain. There's also Denmark and Finland in Group B as well. If I were to put you on the spot right now, obviously the draw's just been made. We don't know which players are going to be taken to the Euros from these countries. But looking at all four teams, how do you think Group B is going to go? And who do you reckon is going to come out and go through to the next round in there? Because one of Germany, Denmark, and Spain can't go through, so it's going to be at least one of those teams going out, Nicholas. And who do you think is going to be going out along with possibly Finland, or do you think Finland could surprise a team and go through? What do you think?
They might, but they might show a surprise or two. But Germany, Denmark, and Spain, they're pretty much one of the they're pretty much uh, I mean, they've got more experience than Finland, and also I wouldn't put it past Germany to go to progress throughout the tournaments, uh, having won it 8 times. But Denmark, they were runners up to the Netherlands in the 2017 tournament, so they could be in with a chance of progressing further as well. Spain went as far as the quarterfinals, but whether they'll go beyond that or not, I don't know. But I think in terms of who's going to actually win the group, I'm probably going to go for either Germany or Denmark.
Yes, so very interesting there, Nicholas. In Group C, then there's the oldest Netherlands, Sweden, Russia, and Switzerland. And you heard me mention as we went through, as I mentioned, who was in that group with when Russia and Switzerland going there, that especially after Switzerland going there, that Netherlands and Sweden should walk through that group and qualify for the knockout stages of the tournament. Do you think it'll be that plain and simple for Netherlands and Sweden to get through, or do you think Russia and Switzerland will put up a bit of a fight and one of those two could get through ahead of say, someone like the Netherlands or Sweden? Obviously, Netherlands, the oldest of the competition from 2017. Do you reckon they could end up going through again? And do you reckon it'll be Sweden joining them, or do you reckon Russia and Switzerland could go through and Netherlands and Sweden could get knocked out this time around, Nicholas?
I think it's going to be a pretty tight one in Group C between the remaining three. I definitely think the Netherlands are going to win the group. So I think it'll be close between Sweden, Russia, and Switzerland, and it could be the chance for Sweden to get their own back on the Netherlands because in 2017 they made it to the quarterfinals and lost 2-0 to the eventual winners. So they could be asking for revenge.
Yes, absolutely there, Nicholas. Absolutely, my friend. So then, Nicholas, just before we do end up, we're going to go through Group D and see who you think's going to go through from there. So it's France, Italy, Belgium, and Iceland. Three of the, I would say, top ranked sides in the world in the women's game. In France, Italy, and Belgium in that group. Iceland in there as well. Don't count them out from last time they was in there. Do you reckon France and it'll be either Italy or Belgium will go through, or do you reckon it'll be Italy and Belgium and France will miss out? What do you reckon, Nicholas?
Well, Iceland could spring a surprise, despite the fact that they were bottom of their group in the last tournament. But I wouldn't put it past France to potentially be one of the winners. Italy need to shape up a bit more since they were bottom of the group in 2017. And as for Belgium, they also need to sort of shape up as well because they were third in their group last time. So so definitely Italy and Belgium need to show some improvements if they are to progress further throughout the tournament and maybe even beat France in the group. But I'm definitely going to go for France as the group winners.
Yes, very interesting. There, then Nicholas will be leaving you in a couple of minutes or so. So, Nicholas, just before we do leave you, I'm going to put you on the spot now, Nicholas. It's not well July the 31st next year, the final, and we've only just had the group stage draw today. I were to ask you now, Nicholas, to predict two finalists for next summer's Euros, which will be at Wembley Stadium. Who do you think is going to be there?
At the minute, I can only think of four to six nations to go through into the final. I'm definitely going to my options. I'm definitely going to include the Netherlands, England, Germany, Denmark, or possibly even France to go to go through to that one as well. But I also wouldn't rule out Norway.
Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. For me, I think it'll be England and Norway from Group A to go through. Germany and Spain in Group B. Netherlands and Sweden in Group C, as I mentioned when I did the draw. And I think it'll be Italy and Belgium to go through from Group D. And I think the finalists will be England. And I think they'll be against Italy in the final. And I think England women, the Lionesses, will get revenge on Italy for what they did to the men's in the 2021 Men's European Championships. So, thank you very much for listening to our coverage here on the commentary for the Women's Euro 2020 group stage draw from all of the team here at the commentary hub, myself and Nicholas and everyone behind the scenes as well who work on the channel as well. Thank you very much for listening. That's who England have got in their group. I'll just run you through the groups once again. So England, Austria, Norway, Northern Ireland in Group A. Group B, Germany, Denmark, Spain and Finland. Group C, Netherlands, Sweden, Russia, Switzerland, France, Italy, Belgium and Iceland on Group D. From myself and from Nicholas and from all of the team here at the commentary hub, thank you very much for listening. From all of the team here, good night.